for both offlane and mid, this makes it more punishing for the weak laner as well, because before you'd be able to just say keep pulling the creep back or just trying to get it to the point where you can.
Actually, the second time in the last, I think they did it either just before 7.0 or in 7.0 itself. They did almost the same thing, and this has actually been a recurring theme going back to at least Manila. I remember talking to Bruno about it, that a lot of people on the Dota 2 team have felt that the more technical aspects of laning have gotten de-emphasized in the last year and a half, and they're a little bit overrated. Like, you could buy Deso because once you hit somebody with Deso, the buff persists, and so if you're a Drow, you can hit somebody with Deso, you can hit somebody with Frost Arrows and just alternate. You still get both effects. And like I always thought the Maelstrom Deso interaction was fine, right? You place the buff, and when the Maelstrom procced, it overrode it, but you could still get value out of both items. Anyway. Mechanical.
I love the draw with Deso though. I mean, you get a Pike, you get a Deso, and you can finish the game.
That's what I mean about. I think like carries that can play with 2 small items and 1 mid-tier item. Like when you look at a Drow building Pike, Mask of Madness, and Deso, I think that hero hits her peak at around the time where if you have any kind of lead as a team, you're all of a sudden just going to be able to steamroll into base.
You want to add
that sustain is a big part of the viability of the hero, not having to go home basically once you have your mana items up. And I think that with this longer cooldown, it's better in those extended fights, longer skirmishes. But in terms of you don't have to stop and go and eat a creep. But in terms of his sustain and map presence, I think that actually hurts him.
You guys might have convinced me on this. I think I when I first saw it, thought, okay, this is definitely an unambiguous buff. But that's a very compelling argument.
When I read it first, I thought it was a buff. Then I thought about it a little bit, and it seems like it's more of a nerf than it's a buff.
I personally think it's the 20% that is going to hurt him more, but I do feel like in this patch, like it is important for him to be able to have this reliable buff, because the one problem with him in Drow Ranger, like you don't have any lane shove, right? So I feel like as a hero, you can't spend too much time like just moving without pushing out a wave.
Damage boost just off that, like the Death Pact, whenever. Be able to eat that creep, and then as a Clinks, you can be much more active early on. As soon as you get 6, you eat that creep, it like basically doubles your damage output, and you become you can't really man fight him because he's got a ton of more HP as well. So then
take out the Wisp in the dark side. So the Lycan is on board, and Liquid possibly taking a cue from some of the games yesterday are going to open with that lane dominating support. We saw FY have a great game in a loss on this area yesterday.
I like Ogre because the tree's still out in the table as well. I think Ogre is probably one of the best supports to have against a tree.
Yeah, because of Ignite for those who don't know. The thing about Darkseer, I mean, the hero has been nerfed since what, 20 patches ago, and still one of the top heroes.
Vacuum cooldown increased.
As an offlaner, you really need to be careful right now. And if you're having a good duo safe lane, even a tri lane, you should be as aggressive as you can. Just try to force him out. Just because offlaners before the builds were pretty much on a melee hero PMS plus 1 set of tangos. Now I think they need to change the builds, get more regen, probably just a stout shield into tangos plus flask.
This is a fascinating draft so far. This is like a hate draft from both teams. You see CM banned frequently against Faceless, Abaddon often as well. Ogre is extremely popular in SCA. It's like a first pick, first ban for a lot of teams. So Liquid went ahead and took that Ogre, and then you see Ogre would often be paired.
So Disruptor is not a initiation hero. He needs someone to set it up first. He's better when you kill one hero, then you start chasing. That's where he excels. With Slaughter, they have pretty much a lot of tanky heroes. Slaughter, Troll, Abaddon. This hero is going to be really hard to take down.
Now, are you a little bit surprised that that's a Slaughter over the Axe there?
Slaughter instead of Axe, you said?
After a Dazzle pick. I thought that might have been an Axe.
They needed a 4-position initiator, don't they?
Barrier. Faceless has 1 in Troll, but that will not come that fast, I guess. SNY, maybe a BKB if needed. From the 4 heroes on Liquid, BKB not needed right now, especially with the Abaddon by his side, so his build could be a SNY into Silver Edge.
So what do we think about this Troll for Faceless? Is this mid or safe lane?
Oh, the Troll.
Yesterday, Who did? VGJ? They
they-
played Troll mid. I don't think that hero is that strong, especially with...
By the Tinker Rockets, by the Ursa Warrior. A lot of small, intricate plays here by Team Liquid that I would love more time to talk about, but unfortunately, this is yet another 25-minute GG.
I know.
Welcome to 6.07. Or 7.06, rather.
There it is.
6.07 was like 10 years.
So
Well, as we get into here, our Game 2 draft is underway as Faceless will take out the same two heroes that they started with last time. Liquid changing things up a little bit. They're going to take out that Ice Timbersaw in the first phase, possibly anticipating that Faceless might want to change up that offlane pick.
yeah, I mean, because they did the second pick Bristleback, and Timbersaw's one of the best heroes to match up against the Bristleback. So I think this time around, like Liquid's saying, if we do something like that again, Faces will be more wise to it.
And remember, this was a hero. I think this was actually the other hero that Liquid took out first phase in the previous game.
Yeah, they banned Magnus right off the bat last time.
Yeah, I couldn't remember for a moment whether it was first or second phase, but I think now it was first.
And there's the Bristleback again
Yeah,
with the
oh,
Coddle.
man.
How do you guys feel about Magnus in this patch? Because this was like a very dominant hero for much of the last patch. Do you feel that he's even a bit slower for this patch? A bit too slow for this patch?
I think he's a little bit too slow.
He can't go on that lane anymore. Just contest that enemy safe lane, no shrine. I didn't have time to check it out. Just back and forth.
And it's got a little bit of slow on the
it's
on the
slow,
comeback,
60%.
right?
It's slow
Liquid
when
gives
it's
Faceless
coming
time
back.
for Aghanims. Things probably gone
That's
horribly wrong
probably
for the-
true.
I think another big thing about Magnus that is good for this patch is that he's very good high ground defense, both in the Blink Skewer back as well as the big AoE of team fight that comes with RP. So in so many situations where we are losing our lanes and that just snowballs into all the outer towers going, the only way to come back is to have really good high ground defense.
Yeah, but that's
Oh,
one
God, that's
spell.
brutal.
If you miss it, the game is pretty much over. That's the
Yeah.
thing about that Magnus. It's the biggest downside of the hero. There it is, the Tusk.
The other thing you mentioned, Cap, that was interesting in terms of empowering your single cores. Obviously, Magnus had that effect where you would amplify the farm on your other cores. But in terms of playing against Magnus, it's kind of scary with fewer cores as well, especially if they're not very tanky cores. Because, like generally speaking, later on, that one Magnus RP and or the skewer basically guarantees that your core is going to die if he's able to get it off. And so you would see these funny situations where, like,
Times.
Yeah, because they're also going to have the mid matchup
You know, Viper's
in
actually
favor
not
of
bad.
Liquid. I mean, you got to get something that kind of connects these dots, right? Like Magnus is slow as an offlaner. Slark is kind of slow as a carry
Wow.
here. Okay, PA at least gets on top of the lone druid, which is good. It's an active fighter. They needed something that kind of wins you. Yeah, Lena's pretty good this.
I like Lena here. I think she just bursts down either PA or Slark. I don't think you invoke her.
Quaparoony.
Of the two, I'd prefer the Lena because
Lena,
I think you're a
yeah.
little light on disable. And Ice Shards can be a very nice
Well,
setup
it's
for
gonna be
Light
a
Strike.
melee hero on mid for Faceless anyway, whatever they wanna
Timbersaw?
put. So
Oh, wait, I'm-
Timbersaw is banned. So I think Lena should be the good choice, or maybe even they have enough burst damage with that
Oh,
Lena.
Queen's okay too.
The funny part is they could also do like
Ah!
Crystal Mid, they could do Lone Druid Mid.
They knew what they needed to do, and they hit that timing beautifully. I think that in a lot of ways, Faceless responded about the way that you would have expected. They still played maybe a little bit greedy, but they had answers. They could take fights in some fashion, but they're just too hard to bring down.
You got to keep in mind that Miracle started this game by dying the mid lane 3 to 4 times, so I felt like Faceless did all right in the laning stage, but once the draft came together, once the Kato Axe came online, it was lights out.
Well, I'm sure a little bit disappointed for Faceless. Team Liquid looking quite strong in this one. People have been speculating that it might be their patch, and indeed there is a chance that it could be. They have found some answers at least. And that Coddle too. It felt like it just made so many different things happen for them. In your eyes, is that one of those heroes? Like, who do you ban for against this Liquid team? I'm not really sure.
I don't know, but
Just have to
He's
call
awesome.
up Bulba to answer that question.
I miss him.
So we take a
Who
look at
was
Liquid's
not
lineup
top
here.
4 at Kiev that that would be a potential team to win TI?
I think we went through most of them.
I would have, I mean, until fairly recently, I would have argued for newbie, but they just have not shown it on the big stage. They've been a team that
Dude, Vega,
Vega, yes,
across
but-
all
I
patches
hate
have loved
Vega
Disruptor.
Okay.
Doesn't matter who's on the team. Doesn't matter what patch it is. Doesn't matter who they're up against. It's just
Just
Disruptor
something
all
about
day.
the organization.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be
Real.
something from the off lane.
here they're going to open with Darkseer and Slardar.
I like it because I think you
Whoa.
really need, when you're running Darkseer, Bristlebacker, you need these. I feel like you really need your 4 position to be a strong initiator for you. Vega Squadron finally get their Terrorblade, are not going to wait for the 3-4 where it's always getting banned. So
Look at that expression from Miracle.
great.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think first base Terrorblade is extraordinarily vulnerable right now.
Is he?
Yeah. You don't. I mean, if you don't take it here, they might take it. Actually, G is a very, very good mid laner.
He doesn't have his Quap there, so. What?
And that's a Cormorana.
Where's the
You're not a
setup?
fan.
I don't know. Maybe for this patch it's okay, but
Is that safe lane or mid? It's mid. It's mid with Terrorblade already
Yeah.
in the safe lane for sure. Okay.
Why Marana though?
why Murata over?
Love. 3 damage of love. Yeah. You know, factor that in with all the other possible change-ups to the game. Let's say that she has a good head start, punishes the Invoker. He now doesn't have that Shrine to fall back on. Who really knows? To be honest with you as well, unfortunately, Vega are going to be waiting like the rest of us here before they can get back into game action. What else has been happening here? You still have access inside the game, so let's
Nothing changed. I mean, the pause is lasting for like 3 or 4 minutes. I said everything I had to say.
Oh, so
Let's
just say nothing.
Yeah, let's just say nothing. Let's focus on Team Liquid's logo. What do you think about that logo?
It's a horse, which is traditional. I mean,
If they had to put a song
on their Gate approach to Liquid, I'm seeing their headsets on, so I'm assuming we're going to be going any moment here. And Vega have ulti's good to go, so probably going to be thirsty for a fight.
play the hero.
Oh, it's my highest win rate.
You're kidding, right?
No, go check my Dota buff. 60% win rate. It's not.
And all 3 games, really dominant, really one-sided games, 30-minute games, even 20-minute game with that Bristleborg.
If you count the pause, it was longer than 30
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
You have that. But no, that's scary. Miracle gets his Invoker back, and he looked just as frightening on it as he did in the previous patch. So I imagine Vega could be considering that as something they ban out. Maybe not in the immediate first phase, but second phase certainly.
Oh, Jesus. The fans are all about it.
Yeah.
God damn, they're just
Our
like.
Chinese crowd, they want to see it, baby.
And Kuro here's the crowd, like for sure.
Is Kuro gonna give
There
it
it
no
is.
pressure? Yeah.
Give the people what they want, Kuro. He knows it.
I mean,
GH is
everyone wants
smiling
to see
about that
the
one. No
companion cube,
surprise.
not Io.
Does he have the Immortal
I hope so.
or Arcana?
Oh, if he does it, like, come on, Valve. How do you not give a gift Wisp Arcana to GH?
GH doesn't even have a compendium.
So
We lost.
When they're doing the tower
GG.
thing, yeah, he didn't.
still,
It's a physical damage hero that deals with Lone Druid Bear. I think that's pretty important, if I remember the Lone Druid patch.
Is it too late to move Slardar into? Okay, no. I was gonna.
Or you could Wraith King.
I was
King.
thinking
I
about
like
Wraith King
a
too,
lot,
dude.
Actually,
Wraith King against Enigma and Lone Druid. Wraith King's kind of nice against those big big team fight ultimates, just because you have a life that you don't care about.
You get destroyed in lane though.
Yes, you would.
I think picking
Midnight Pulse would still be very hard for you on
I
your
think
second
picking
life.
your mid here leaves you really vulnerable. I'd rather pick my position in 1 here.
Is it possible
Maybe-
for a
maybe
Razor
Troll?
pick either in
No,
your mid or
Troll's banned.
safe lane? Static Link against the bear.
No, that is tough. Okay, I shouldn't have doubted you guys.
All right, Ben, you're pulling your weight again.
Ben
Good job.
Yep.
Please. Come on, guys.
Please.
I just feel like there are a lot of strong laners left in Pool for Miracle. And you're not going to have any BS clockwork cogs at level 1 to start you off.
Weaver, that was smart. Another good physical damage dealer.
I think they are now starting to look like a favorite for the whole tournament. I want to see Liquid versus CNC now.
Oh, definitely. That's going to be a hype match.
This is crazy. Liquid look damn good. Miracle putting on a serious show. Double Rampage in that game. We finally get to see the GH Wisp. Again, no Arcana, sir. I want to see you fix that by the time you return into action. But Liquid, regardless, get their win.
Really, I think Liquid figured out how to play this patch, and they figured out this so quickly. They just went for the dominant lanes from early on and then just continued to go into that 15-20 minute mark game where they actually finish it.
Tough spot for Vega. They are down.
The Chinese crowd chanting for the hometown favorites. And here is Team Liquid, led by Kuro, walking on stage. First professional player to reach 900 career wins. The only thing missing, similarly, you say this about Burning, the only thing missing from that resume is that TI chip.
Of Monkey King and causing problems. In a lot of ways, that was what knocked Liquid out of there.
Yes.
And now I think that they're feeling a lot better going into this. And I think that if you're IG, the other hero that you might think about is Coddle. A dual
Resilient against ganks, against this kind of roaming pressure versus a strong static lane, then that can counter some of the roaming, get you off to a good start, and allow you to take objectives. Lone Druid I thought was especially interesting with some of the changes recently to Rabid. Kind of a buff in a sense in that you get it more frequently and the attack speed increase. And then we used to see that run as a ranged Lone Druid. That Liquid won the last Star Ladder, basically being Matumba Man being one of the pioneers, one of the great players on this hero in that ranged form. And so Lone Druid, they used successfully on the first day. It could still be a hero that now that in melee assists with that, and Dazzle provides that.
Here we go, that Leshrac Alliance ran that hero in the opening day of play, got a tremendous amount of value out of him at the 4 position. Now, the concern that you get, Leshrac can be moved over to the mid if he gets the right matchup, so don't discount that. Most likely a 4 though, and you're now looking at a situation where Kunkka and Leshrac, they're both supports that need that setup. They have stuns, but you're really relying on the Stormhammer out of the Sven as a setup for either of those two.
That is a hell of a lot of disable, though. I mean, you take a look at it, 2-second stun from Sven, another 2-second stun from Leshrac, and then you follow up with the Torrent. Like, Mind Control could be in a lot of trouble in this lane. Any of them could be in a lot of trouble in that lane if they go there. And now Terrorblade, I like the pick. It is a hero that's going to maybe need a little bit more help in lane, depending. I mean, I wonder if even IG think about going aggressive against it.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking about it. With these 3 heroes, that's pretty much 3 stun against Terrorblade, Dazzle, and Slardar. They have so much more advantage with it.
Wow. Yeah, Ursa, I think.
It's still it's still for Black Hole though.
No, I think Ursa is probably your best bet just because you have to win the lanes. All right, so we are going to see the OD mid now. This is Liquid going back to something what we saw on the first day. These mid matchups can so easily spiral out of control, and absent the support rotations, Miracle is going to put a ton of pressure on OP mid in the early laning stage. Guys, I don't want to see them put that at a disadvantage, and perfect call by Lacoste, the DP coming out from IG.
That's where you say easy.
Yeah, easy. EGB, call me later on.
Oh my goodness.
You know for sure who IG's going to pick.
All right, I'm out.
Sort of tough because I'm wondering if they try and run like a dual lane with the Bristleback like we've seen them occasionally do, or if this is going to be more around keeping that safe lane safe. I guess they can just depend it on what happens with the rest of the draft.
Well, Lycan's got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely on board with that.
Might be worried about the possible Lone Druid and Bristleback pairing that we've seen as well.
All right, Nyx Assassin banned out, so it might be. I don't see Ember here anymore. But okay, never mind. Darkseer is banned out.
Yeah, that's Liquid saying pretty clearly. Look, you guys didn't take that offlaner that we left on the table for XXS in the first phase. We're gonna take out the 2 most prominent offlaners in the second, and that's pretty fair. And there's the Lycan ban that you called for, Lacoste. I was looking at the stats this morning, and that's if you look at the top 25 highest win rate player hero combinations with 20 or more games all time. That 24-6 for XXS's Legion Commander, that's up there.
That's also like in the dynamic of an off lane that works well for it too.
Sure,
Yeah.
but I still feel like I don't think the nerf to this hero was significant enough that when you see at least one and probably two heroes that it counters very effectively on the other side, that you go away from that. And you've got Kunkka and Crystal Maiden that can help secure that Legion Commander of the early game in that lane as well.
If they do that, then you should definitely see like a really strong laning hero in the safe lane. I think that's what we want to see anyways out of IG.
I do wonder if Weaver is a viable choice for them. You mentioned having some strength as a laner. In terms of control, like the Warlock is a bit static and kind of ulti dependent for the control aspect. Starter would have to be doing much of that on his own to be able to get to the Weaver, and you have something that can hit the lone Druid Bear and the Bristleback in front without much fear of retaliation, or at least being able to protect that before the lines break. So I think it's a possible choice for them. I think they need some kind of a ranged
maybe a
core here.
Shadow Fiend and put the DP on a safe lane. In America, they love to play, especially NP, they love to play safe lane DP, but I don't think it's going to happen here. That's just one of the suggestions they could do. He's also a Silver Edge carrier.
I agree with Jack on the Weaver. I think that's the most autonomous safe lane hero left. But the Razor still sort of in that category.
Going to be the Dark Seer,
and there's the Tusk. I've wanted to see this hero, expected to see it in the previous game's draft. IG has just been drafting so much AoE team fight, and that snowball acts as a multiple hero save, and also Kuro just tremendously confident roaming on this hero early on, really bothering the mid lane, and that's something that is so critical against IG.
GH plays it too. He was the one playing it in the Kiev, and there was a moment I remember where they went for a snowball save, and it was actually against an Ember Spirit that ended up getting a really quick catch and blowing them all up as Liquid were ahead, and they were trying to push a tier 2 tower. I think it was like game 3 or something, and that ended up turning the whole momentum shift back around into IG's favor. So need to be careful about the counter initiation heroes, and Earth Spirit can be one of those.
What you were saying about GH and his Tusk, I think overall Kuroky plays much better Tusk, to be honest. His moving around the map is good, and the block from shards is just mind blown.
It was one of the rising heroes towards the end of the last patch, and Liquid always seemed to be very high on it. There is a playstyle with them, so once again, talking about roamers out of that 4 position that don't require necessarily very high levels or a Blink Dagger to be effective, this certainly fits that mold. When they are clicking on all cylinders with Tusk, you see it paired, for example, with the Lycan or something else, they can constantly get pickoffs all over the map, and that's working well for them. It's easy for them to snowball.
I really like this idea. They're not banning out XXS heroes. They're deciding instead to focus on OP in the mid lane, try and shut down his hero pool. I wonder if they're even going to be willing to give them away the Magnus in this one and just take out like one other hero from that pool.
I think the Tusk is a part of that, because if you're talking about the Legion command
at the end of the game.
Wow.
And against lineups that don't have that much burst damage, like you could see potentially a damage issue here from IG depending on the last 2 picks. The Void is a great reset for that in between fights. It becomes very difficult to deal with. I wonder if they're going to go with a very aggressive mid here to pressure the Invoker. I'm not sure if PA is a potential option for them, Queen of Pain, something like that.
See, I think there are times when you just go back to a hero like Lina that you know your mid is just extraordinarily confident with.
Does OP plays Silencer on mid?
That's a lot of it's been a staple recently of the Chinese scene. A lot of the teams have been. I'd be surprised if they haven't at least scrimmed it.
He does well against Invoker, especially with Earth Spirit rotating. It's good against Void counter initiation once they go in. The problem would be when Darkseer gets Guardian Greaves, so he can counter initiate after the global silence.
But he can also prevent follow-ups to the obvious like Void Chronosphere situations, right? And yeah, I mentioned that, like that's a very scary matchup for Invoker. It becomes very annoying to lane up against the Silencer.
Yeah, that Miracle Invoker in 52 professional matches, 9.77 kills per game, by far the highest average of any pro with 30 or more games on the hero. 585 experience per minute is also #1, GPM top 5. Absolutely sick.
This is hype as hell. God damn.
Yeah, you honestly, you couldn't script it any better than this. So I do think that this is going to be a mid-hero. I still look at the Lina as just something that OP is super comfortable with. I know they've gone away from it since the nerfs.
10 seconds remaining.
And maybe you pick up the OD yourself here. I like OD. I like OD for their mid.
Like the thing you need is be able to have space makers for him.
Now they go back to the lane. Okay, and this is just honestly, you're asking your mid player, what hero do you think you can win the lane on?
I was thinking about the Dazzle, but after that anti-mage pick, they might go for something more.
Definitely MVP that game. Oh my god, his defensive hooks, his early game just absolutely crushing IG, and Liquid will advance to another Star Series Grand Finals.
I don't want to take anything away from Burning. That was a spectacular anti-mage performance. There were moments that we were thinking, man, maybe.
To be able to keep that close with that sort of disadvantage is impressive, to say the least.
And it's not just Burning, right? Because Burning is constantly out of the map, believing that his teammate could make the hole, right? If his teammates cannot make the hole, he cannot make the play that he did. So I think it's both sides.
I know you questioned, like, why didn't they first pick the Magnus?
If they're coming into other LAN events, and if they tank in those LAN events, might be a problem.
Well, here we go. Liquid coming in here. Proven competitors. GH leading the way on stage. The relative newcomer to this Liquid lineup, the Wisp specialist. There's a reason you're probably going to see IO banned all 5 games of the series. Your hero for them, the Tusk. Kuro roams that very well. You've also seen GH and TNC are going to waste no time picking up their 2 cores.
Jesus, opening 1-2 core combo?
I think that's the first time that we've seen that this weekend.
Both of those heroes, I would say, don't have any problems with laning phase. Like, I feel like no matter what Liquid pick up, you're going to be kind of okay with Lycan and Darkseer. In that regard, though, the only thing you could say is maybe they're
any chance for TNC in game number 1.
GG with caps cold. I guess that means something.
That was an emphatic game number 1 by Liquid. I don't think there were any downsides to their showing there.
If they just there are a lot of options for replacement heroes in this draft.
I mean, that was one of the reasons why I favored Team Liquid walking into this series. I just think that they have a wider hero pool. I think they just have a vast advantage in the drafting phase. And again, TNC forced to ban out heroes that they can't beat. So,
yeah, I mean, I just look back to, again, as far back as OG at the Frankfurt Major, you don't have to have a ridiculously wide hero pool. You just have to have a set of strats just large enough.
Also, like, one of the heroes that can cause some trouble for Lone Druid early in the laning phase. And then the Tinker, which again has been another one of the key heroes of this tournament, especially for TNC. Usually a good option up against the Lone Druid and helps to hold your towers and contributes to early fights that they want to take. So I think this is a pretty key ban for Liquid up against TNC.
Okay, so more team fight coming out from TNC, and again a hero in the Sand King that is one of the 2 most picked heroes in the tournament, along with Jakiro. And a hero that can slide over into 3 or the 4 position.
I hope they don't run into 4 position, honestly, because
then
it's the same problem that they had last time, where it's this duo that has to work together instead of having a support that just passively secures a lane, because that's what Liquid were able to do. They had this nice combination, right, where a Coddle would secure a lane for them, but they also had the roaming power of the Tusk. Here, there was a lot of pressure, both in game 1 and probably in game 2, for you to make things happen as a support, as this duo, and against these dead lane.
Nyx is annoying for an OD, rather.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Is that the first Phoenix in this
That
tournament?
is, I believe so. That's a hero I really thought we were going to see before now, and I actually thought we might see it out of newbie.
I'm actually very surprised to see it here, because Sunray is not going to be able to get channel whenever Nyx Assassin has a Spike Carapace up, which is actually one of your best defensive ability when your Lone Druid gets gone on. But it feels like they'll get more stuff out of the other abilities, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't think...
Medusa.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I don't think they run Miracle on Medusa, but, oh man, would that be just a ruinous pick. I mean, the Nyx Assassin does give you something against the Mana Burn against her shield, but boy, that team fight combo just shuts TNC down.
I'm looking at the way to tackle the Phoenix Egg. Like, is it too YOLO for TNC to pick up something like an Ursa and just run it mid?
I think Ursa mid
And you just
against
try
a
to win in
potential
like 20
Medusa.
minutes.
I think with.
I mean,
Wow, that game, it had started all as TNC, but the resilience of Liquid, the continuation of farm.
TNC did such a good job during the early game, those pickoffs, but they managed to get back into the game with 3 Midas and also some clutch hooks from GH. That Roche fight was a big, big deal.
Yeah. The extraction of Ticketeven out of that Roche fight and allowing Liquid to slip in just instantly boosted him up to like a 8K net worth advantage, and there was really no looking back. And a lot of credit to that guy too, Mind Control, man. Lots of great farm, a great series for him, a great showing for Liquid, and congratulations, man.
Yeah, congratulations to Team Liquid. A better team today, but TNC showing some really strong performance right here.
And we'll get to see more from them in the upcoming Manila Masters. Congratulations again to Team Liquid. You are the champions. Let's go ahead and send things back over to our analyst panel now on their take of our grand final.
All right, welcome back to our panel here as Team Liquid are your Star Ladder I-League Invitational champions. They defend their title, knocking out TNC in a dramatic best-of-5 grand final as we look at Team Liquid celebrating on the main stage. Their direct invite to TI7 all but secured. They are going to be in Seattle fighting for a piece of that $10 million prize pool. We'll go back to our panel here one more time. Guys, what did you think about Game 5?
Wait, are you confirming the direct invite?
I think so.
That's what it sounded like.
I think so. I really think that they were on the cusp. Even before this tournament, they were squarely in the middle of that conversation. I think this is enough to put them over the top.
You be careful, Alan. Ice Frog's going to be watching this tournament. He's going to be like, you don't tell me what to do.
I mean, let's be real. I don't think any team in the EU qualifiers could beat this team, right? If
Yeah,
they
I don't
play
think
well.
so.
Yeah, so.
Secret is, they look good, but not quite this good.
Yeah.
And we really don't
Once again, just taking their place on the stage of winning a Star Ladder. This would happen a couple months ago in February as well. Times have changed a little bit, but some things have remained constant. There's still that lone druid that they used so well back then. I think, in terms of adjusting to this patch, adapting to patches in general, this team has shown its versatility and a nice showing here.
Yeah. Some signature performances as we listen to the interview here on stage.
就首先就是很高兴能够赢下这次比赛，然后这次比赛确实比我想的要困难很多。我本来以为我们可以3-0打，就直接击败 TNC。那么最后我感谢所有的粉丝，所有支持我们的朋友们。How about you, GH?
Yeah, I want to thank all the support from our friends and families and the fans, of course. I just want to say that TNC put up a great fight, and I didn't expect them to do so well versus us, especially after the game 1, but they played so well, and they were great opponents.
一样也是首先感谢所有的粉丝和朋友们。那么最后也是对 TNC 致以我们的敬意，因为第一场比赛我们去那么轻松的取得胜利以后，我们确实没有想到这场比赛最后能够打入决胜局，也非常感谢他们的完美表现。Kuro?
Yeah, it's cool. Like,
that's it?
Yeah.
太棒了。How about you, Miracle?
Hello. What do I say now?
What did you say last time?
China #1.
China #1. All right, Matu, you have to say something more like than those two.
Yeah.
All right, 那这样就没有了，就 Yeah。
好的，感谢我们的所有的队伍带来的精彩的比赛。